Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Go to the root of your existence, realize yourself, then your whole life and outlook will be transformed. If we do not achieve this goal, we live a life no better than of animals. Usually our whole existence is centered on the ego. The ego is crystallized selfishness. We toil day and night in order to get something only for ourselves and our kith and kin. Our vision is thus circumscribed. Outside the circle, the world is not ours. So long as the ego is strong in us, we cannot be happy. If we work, it must be for the good of all mankind. We have to universalize our vision. In that vision, the ego is lost. We will then be truly happy. What is crystallized selfishness? Too much of body consciousness and image of oneself. Then assertion, anger, frustration, possessiveness, distrust on others, insensitive to the suffering of others, jealousy, greed, lack of humility to acknowledge of the bounteous gifts of God in the form of one's own body, mind, intellect, and other creatures, running after name and fame and sense gratification, not compromising on any personal comfort, and only bothered about the care and concern of those who serve that individual and is obedient, resorting to even violence in thought, word, and deed to safeguard one's own interest. These are some of the points, some of the expressed form of crystallized selfishness. But again, when we reflect, these are all facts. However much we say, however much we hear, these have all become a part of our life. We will keep on asserting, we feel we are right, others are wrong. So many things the mind will keep on justifying. Now, how to get over it? We have diagnosed the problem. Finally, we said we cannot do anything. If it was possible, we would have done. So we pray to God to somehow awaken us, erase this me and mine from me. I should become zero. If that is very clear in the minds of devotees and sadhaka, then to a very great extent, we are. That's what Papa has taught us. And we also made a reference about the second chapter in In Quest of God. Before Papa plunging into this itinerant life, he was praying to God only this: remove the I-ness from me. That particular word is worth repeating again, because that is the essence of Papa's life. Papa says in the second chapter, now from the narrow pond of a worldly life, Ram had lifted up his slave to throw him into the extensive ocean of universal life. But to swim in the wide ocean, Ram knew Ramdas wanted strength and courage, for gaining which Ram intended to make his ignorant and untrained slave to pass through a course of severe discipline, and this under his direct guidance and support. So one night, while engaged in drinking in the sweetness of his name, Ramdas was made to think in the following strain. So simultaneously, the Nama chanting and the reflection goes on. Very important point for all of us. There is no intermediary. He was not referring to anybody, asking for anybody, under his direct guidance and protection. So if at all he has any problem, he praises before Ram only. Ramdas was made to think in the following state: O Ram, when thy slave finds thee at once so powerful and so loving, and that he who trusts thee can be sure of true peace and happiness, why should he not throw himself entirely on thy mercy, which can be possible only by giving up everything he called mine? The diagnosis has taken place. If we are to see the finger of God, the presence of God in everything, in individuals as well as in objects, Papa gives us the clue. What is it that obstructs us? The me and mine. He who trusts thee can be sure of true peace and happiness. Why should he not throw himself entirely on thy mercy, which can only be possible by giving up everything he called mine? Thou art all in all to thy slave. Thou art the sole protector in the world. Men are deluded when they declare, I do this, I do that, this is mine, that is mine. All O Ram is thine, and all things are done by thee alone. Thy slave's one prayer to thee is to take him under thy complete guidance and remove his I-ness. Thou art all in all to thy slave, thou art the sole protector in the world. Men are deluded when they declare, I do this, I do that, this is mine, that is mine. All, O Ram, is thine, and all things are done by thee alone. Thy slave's one prayer to thee is to take him under thy complete guidance and remove his I-ness. This is the message he gives us. overtly or covertly, this should not come. By reading this, by hearing this, it will not go. So constant reflection should be there. Especially we are not full-timers, in the sense we are not, what we mean by full-timers is, we are not reflecting on this on a full-time basis. Not necessarily chanting, not necessarily doing bhajan. Are we reflecting on this throughout? But it has not been possible because we are not habituated to it. In our mind we have segregated, separated. This is family, household work, this is professional work, this is social work, this is spiritual discipline. So like that, unknowingly there is a divide in our mind. That is why the moment we are free from one, we are unable to connect ourselves. The moment satsang is over, we are back to our own self. The moment we are in household or professional or social duties, this will not come also. In our mind we have separated. Initially there has to be some regulated times, regulated occasions where we intend to do it, because that is how we get initiated. But it is not to be limited to that particular. So Papa's life and teachings make us aware of this. That is why through many of his quotations he gives that. Even in at the feet of God, he says, to realize God, to see Ram everywhere. Ram means that mysterious power. He has defined it. Who is Ram? Before introducing the word Ram in his first book, In Quest of God, he defines who is Ram. O Ram, the truth, the love, the goal of human perfection. Before the struggle and initiation chapter starts, in the first book, he introduces how the word Ram. And what does he say? It was about 2 years ago in 1920 that Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas a keen desire to realize his infinite love, to strive to approach and understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing forms, because Ram is the only truth, the only reality. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless is he. He is present in all things and in all creatures, who only appear as separate entities due to their ever-changing forms. To wake up from this illusion of forms is to realize at once the unity or love of Ram. Love of Ram means love of all beings, all creatures, all things in this world. Because Ram is in all is in Ram, Ram is all in all. To realize this great truth, we who through ignorance feel a separate individual should submit ourselves to the will and working of that infinite power, the infinite love Ram, who is one and all-pervading. By a complete surrender to the will of Ram, we lose consciousness of the body, which keeps us aloof from him, and find ourselves in a state of complete identification and union with him, who is in us, who is everywhere around us. So this is how he introduces. So to see Ram everywhere, then the disconnection will not take place. This is the greatest challenge all of us are facing. The only thing is the time may vary. Suppose we say 100 points. To some it may be 50-50, to some it may be 40-60, to some it may be 10-90, to some it may be 90-10 also. But the thing is now, where are we? Only each one will understand. Before every word comes out, every thought comes out, before every action comes out, are we in a position to feel that? So here he says, to realize God is to see Ram everywhere, in all things, in all beings, in all feelings, in all thoughts, in all actions, in all impulses. The mind itself is Ram. The body is Ram. Atma is Ram. 10 senses are Ram. 24 tattvas are Ram. All is Ram. Good and bad, heat and joy, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, love and hate, all is Ram. Man, woman, beast, bird, tree, hill, stars, moon, sun, earth, the tiniest particle of the dust, animal, plant, all is Ram. Be sinless, be pure, be holy, be peaceful, be truth, love, light, bliss. Be intoxicated with Ram, nay mad with Ram. All this is the supreme wisdom of truth. Live in God, live in God. You know, at the feet of God, after he took up the first itinerant life, when he came back, you know, we can put it as, we can interpret, for Papa is not interpretory, we can interpret now that there are 4 stages. That 4 stages have been told by Papa, but we have not connected this with this. That we are trying now to understand. The 4 stages, he said, first we feel the nearness, second we feel the presence within, then we feel the vision of him everywhere, and finally we become one with him. We are now connecting. In quest of God helps us to feel the nearness. At the feet of God helps us to feel the presence. In the vision of God helps us to see everywhere. World is God helps us to become one with Him. The wording has been given to us so that we can connect up. So at the feet of God is to feel presence. So when he came back from the itinerant life, when more and more reflections were taking place, he used to have dialogue, long dialogue with Ram. Then at times, he says it as mother. So this at the feet of God is nothing but such reflections, which he himself has recorded. And this is from that. So when we say about the presence, he was tutoring his mind that all spiritual discipline should zero to this. Behind every thought, behind every word, behind every deed, as a sadhaka he should know, is he, the subject is he, and the object is also he. How to bring that in our life is each one has to chalk out. Papa had been trying through chanting of God's name with the right perspective. And constantly reflecting, Constantly reflecting. The first prayer also was while he was chanting, he was bringing this. That means the diagnosis was also done. That is reflection. The me and mine is the biggest hurdle. And the me and mine comes in the form of this. So now our effort, we don't know whether we are right or wrong. Taking guidance from Papa's words, we are unable to see the presence of that power, the mysterious power in the common denominator power in anything. objects, emotions and thoughts. Very difficult. Because we have trained our mind to see an object as an object, a person as a person, an incident as an incident, a situation as a situation. We may say God brought it out. Do we mean that? Only that person will know. So one method could be, it is a trial and error, no? That whatever we come across, right from morning until evening, there should be a conscious effort on our part to link with that mysterious power. Neurology can change from person to person. But the idea is this: when we are operating this laptop, somewhere in the corner we should know that he has originated it through some of his creation, and he has come out in the form of this. So when I handle it, I should handle it gently. One form. Everything, suppose we start bringing like that, we will try to become submissive whenever the individual is concerned. For others, suppose I am working in a company, I am working in a bank, you are coming there with an application. I have to scrutinize your application. Though in my heart I know you are industrious, you are capable of initiating a series of economic activities which will be beneficial. All those things I may know. But there are certain norms. If you don't fit into that norms, I cannot give. There I cannot be flexible. Because there the dharma is, I have to look after the interest of the depositors. In order to take care of the depositors' interest, certain norms have been drawn, and though mentally you feel you can't be flexible. But whenever it happens to yourself, individual, you will be flexible. You should be flexible. Whenever it happens to me, then only the me and mine goes, My rights and wrongs, my preferences, my priorities, my labeling, that should go, And God will test us through so many things. So whenever there is a dharma under which you are functioning, you are dharma rakshati rakshita. The dharma will protect you also. You are in administration. You have to do that. When somebody gives the love offering, we lock it. We keep the key. We hand it over to the office next day. Because it is somebody's. In our room, we can keep it open. Anybody can go and take it. This is the example. Individually, totally flexible. But when the dharma shifts from individual to institution, then the norms change. We should not confuse this. Both are to be treated, both are to be done like that. From the individual level, when Krishna asked Arjuna to fight, it was the dharma. Papa used to say, when somebody asked him, somebody comes and says, what will you do? Individually as a soldier you will give in, but if it's for a collective one, you will fight to the last. There should not be any vested interest. That is the me and mine. So to do that, we will try now. Previously, we were limiting our reverence to certain places, certain persons, certain rituals, certain situations, that we connect it as God. This person is holy, that person is not holy, This place is holy, that place is not holy. This is a noble ritual, this is not. Like that, we have in our mind. So, how to demolish this? There is no domain where he is not. Once again we will read. This is a very serious matter on which devotees and sadhakas should ponder over. Because it is the toughest. Ultimately everything zeroes to this only. Not that we don't have devotion, not that we don't have faith, not that we are not aligned to a particular guru. Everything is there, but the other thing is also there. To realize God is to see Ram everywhere, in all things, in all beings, in all feelings, in all thoughts, in all actions, in all impulses. The mind itself is Ram. The body is Ram. Atma is Ram. 10 senses are Ram. 24 tattvas are Ram. All is Ram. Good and bad, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, love and hate, all is Ram. Man, woman, beast, bird, tree, hill, stars, moon, sun, earth, the tiniest particle of dust, animal, plant, all is Ram. Be sinless, be pure, be holy, be peaceful, be truth, love, light and bliss. Be intoxicated with Ram, nay mad with Ram. This is the supreme wisdom and truth. Live in God, live in God. Always live in God. We are not living anywhere else. Live in God means always to have that God remembrance. So where do we make the beginning? Beloved Papa's presence is not only confined to the bhajan hall or Homa Mandir, he is not only pervasive in his holy Ananda Ashram, but it lives and moves in and through you. You carry his presence when you adhere to truthfulness. You carry his presence when you are kind, considerate, compassionate. You carry his presence when you refuse to swerve even 1 inch from the path of purity. You carry his presence vibrantly, dynamically, forcefully when you live your life in a divine manner with determination, humble intention, firm resolve and all sincerity and earnestness. When you are trying to pursue a divine way of living in thought, word and action, you are manifesting Beloved Papa. You are a vibrant center, that which the world knows as Beloved Papa Swami Ramdas. You become a lamp through which his light shines. You become the vessel to hold the living waters of his spirituality, his sublime spiritual teachings. Do not therefore confine Beloved Papa Swami Ramdas to the bhajan hall, the Homa Mandir and Ananda Ashram. Make yourself a vehicle of his living presence so that by your life others also become awake and illumined. They feel his divine presence through your life and their life is also divinized. Move amongst this world of men as the candle, imparting your light to anyone whom God brings you in contact with. If this is absorbed, to a very great extent, we will be able to pull down. We can assume, Papa in the same body as Swami Ramadas is seated with him. And he is watching every moment. Every time do we consult him? Or whether do action or thought, word and deed comes out impulsively, or whether there is a consultation going on. We all need consultation until it becomes a part of ours. You go to meet a doctor to consult a particular thing. He gives you the prescription. Then you don't have to go to him. You follow his prescription. Whenever the prescription does not, the prescribed medicine does not do its work, you again consult him. Is it? When the teacher tells you, he is also you can say a consultant. We go to him for doubts. We learn what he is asking us to do in the homework. Similarly, think that beloved Papa's presence, now we have confined him, Guru. Beloved Papa's presence is not only confined to the bhajan hall or home mandir, or is not only all pervasive in this holy Anandash. But it lives and moves in and through you. Papa Mataji is in everybody's heart, God is in everybody's heart, you are in everybody's heart. So he is there. Not only, so wherever you go naturally, he is there. Whatever you see, he is there. Whatever you handle, it is there. A lot of reflection should be not a thought. Because we will get disconnected. Beloved Papa's presence is not only confined to the bhajan hall or home mandir, he is not only all pervasive in this holy Anandashram, but it lives and moves in and through you. You carry his presence when you adhere to truthfulness. You carry his presence when you are kind, considerate and compassionate. You carry his presence when you refuse to serve even 1 inch from the path of purity. You carry his presence vibrantly, dynamically, forcefully when you live your life in a divine manner with determination, humble intention, firm resolve and all sincerity and earnestness. When you are trying to pursue a divine way of living, in thought, word and action, you are manifesting the Beloved Papa. He says to serve God is the true bhakti of God, to serve God is the real worship of God. When we try to actualize it in our life, you are manifesting Papa. Behold divinity in every aspect of this world Leela. When we try that, we are manifesting Papa. Remember, nothing is yours, everything belongs to God. When we remember this, we are manifesting Papa. Now we are only reading, we are reproducing. But are we living? When you are trying to pursue a divine way of living in thought, word and action, you are manifesting the Beloved Papa. You are a vibrant center of that which the world knows as Beloved Papa Swami Ramadas. You become a lamp through which his light shines. You become the vessel to hold the living waters of his spirituality, his sublime spiritual teachings. I should dwell more and more on his sublime divine teachings Then some of it get assimilated, some of it becomes a part. Slowly I start manifesting the Papa in me. Think. Do not therefore confine beloved Papa Swami Ramdas to the Bhajan Hall, Home Mandir and Anand Ashram. Make yourself a vehicle of his living presence so that by your life others become awake and illumined. They feel his divine presence through your life, and their life is also divinized. Move amongst this world of men as the candle imparting your light to anyone whom God brings you in contact with. So through the knowable only the unknown can be pointed out. There only inference, it cannot express. It becomes assimilation, it becomes an experience, that's all. So what we were trying to develop is that how do we ensure that there is no disconnect when we are away from the so-called labeled spiritual practices. So whether at home, whether in the office, whether with friends, whether in an ashram, whether in a temple, whether in front of a spiritual preceptor, am I in a position to maintain, sustain the same feeling? Here is one clue. All these were made possible because my spiritual preceptor touched and kindled these vital aspects in me. If he has not told, I don't know, I may not know at all. Ram is all in all. That word has come from my Guru. So now I do the pradishta of my Guru inside, and not merely pradishta. And then the living presence is felt. And for that I should reflect on his life, his sublime teachings. Then only when I go off the mark, something in me will pull me back. Hey, what are you doing? Will he like it? Is it in line with his philosophy? Oh, sorry. I correct myself. It will take a lot of time, uphill task. Papa says, it's a tug of war. The higher mind and the lower mind. Higher mind trying to connect us with him. Lower mind taking us away from him. So this tug of war will be there because for ages we have been trained to think in terms of me and mine. On a very few items we used to bring in this God concept or Guru concept or spiritual concept. In all the rest of the things we have our individual concept. From the individual level only we assess, we pass judgments, we deal with others. So this disconnect should go, this clarity should come. So one of the methods could be this. Papa will not like it. This is not in line with Papa's teachings. So for all that I must keep on reflecting on his life and teachings. At the same time, it is not getting attached to his personal form. The principles. Yesterday we saw, Vinobaji is telling, how do we detach ourselves from the individual? First the individual, you remember, Yesterday he was telling about the scaffolding. When we prepare an arch, we need a scaffolding. After the curing period, after the curing period, say 21 days or something like that, you will remove the support. It stands on itself. So initially we need an individual, and then people get centered on that individual. Then that individual also will go, Then if it has to sustain, that institution has to have the part of the principles. Sensing this, Papa, at the time of inauguration, he made it very clear that the idea of the ashram is universal love and service based upon the vision of divinity in everybody. Sense of otherness should go. So every time this method, when we go through this presentation, the real concept of Papa, real concept of beloved Papa, start thinking. The more we attune ourselves to the sublime philosophies of Papa, every time whenever I go off the mark, I will be warned. Behold divinity in every aspect. And at the same time, care should be taken to see that we don't insist this on others. God has got His own plan to work out through every form. In our case now, He is giving all these thoughts. So we need not belittle anybody or disrespect anybody just because they don't agree with this. God has not prompted them to think on those lines. Otherwise again conflict will come. So each one has to work out. There can't be a general prescription. If general prescription, if whatever the Shastra says, whatever the Mahatma says, if that is okay, then we don't need any interpretation, no commentaries. For every book, there is a commentary still going on. Bhagavad Gita is one text. How many commentaries are there? Why? Because not general prescription. Through each one, God gives a different dimension, and He is bringing it out. So similarly, each one of us should try. In his article, Release Your Divinity, he has made it very clear. Everyone is unique. We have to bring it out in our own way. So how do we do that? Each one has to work out.